Hi everyone, this is Chapters and Cheers, and today I am reviewing the Pulitzer Prize-winning novel Trust by Hernan Diaz. This was a book I picked for my January book club pick, and I am so glad that I finished it. This will be a spoiler-free review as I aim to have all of my reviews to be spoiler-free, and if I will be spoiling the book, I'll make sure to say that at the beginning of the review. So Trust is a fantastic novel. I highly recommend it. It's a novel that at the beginning, or I would say for the first half of the novel, is quite dry, a little slow, a little difficult and challenging to get through. But if you just hold on and keep working through this book, the payoff is brilliant. This might be one of my favorite books I think that I'll be reading this year, but since we're just at the top of the year, I'll have to update that in the future. So Hernan Diaz's Trust, it's a book that's set in the 1920s and 1930s, a little bit before the Great Depression. So it's a book about investing, a very, very powerful investor named Andrew Bevel and his wife Mildred. And it's an examination into their life, into their marriage, into Andrew and Mildred's vast riches and exactly how they get there. Um, so there's this book is made up of four separate books. The first one is Bonds by Harold Vanner. This is a novel within a novel. So essentially, this is a fictionalized account of Andrew and Mildred's life. So in Bonds, they're renamed as Benjamin and Helen Rask. So Bonds talks about how they met, their marriage, and then how Benjamin used his financial acumen to make all of his millions. And how their marriage continues from there. The second book is My Life by Andrew Bevel. So, this is an autobiography written by Andrew Bevel to rebut the story told in Bonds. And My Life is quite dry. It's a little braggadocious. It's still a draft too because it has notes where it says, like, elaborate more on this, talk about Mildred's that. So, it's not a complete novel, it's more of a manuscript. Third is a memoir remembered by Ida Partenza. So Ida is a famous writer. She's a daughter of an Italian anarchist, and she is hired as a ghostwriter for Andrew Bevel. A memoir remembered goes into her story about how she gets this job working for Andrew Bevel, and then her research and work on his uh, autobiography. And the last book is Futures. And I won't exactly say too much about Futures, but I will say that Futures is the book that reconciles the entire book. So if the first three books are the official records, this it's a diary. It takes form of a private journal. This is the secret ledger. This is really where all of the books come together. And Futures is written in a different way. It's very poetic, it's very short and sharp, insightful, and it really takes you into the mind of the character that's writing Futures. So these four books bring together Trust, the novel, and the real brilliance of Hernan Diaz's writing that I was particularly taken by was how the voice and the writing of each one of these books was so different and so skilled. And I actually watched another video to say that English is not his first language. He's actually fluent in many languages. So to see a writer, an author, have such mastery in a language that is not his primary language and writing in such different styles was so mind blowing to me. It was amazing. And Hernan Diaz also does an excellent job of playing with the idea of trust in the novel. I would say, as you're reading this novel, you have to think about the question of who do we trust? Whose accounts do we trust? What's actually the truth? And you think about, or he's asking you, who do we actually believe? Do we believe the person with the most money? Do we believe the person with the most evidence? It really talks about money and power and how the powerful use their money to control the narrative. So, is this book worth reading? Absolutely. It takes a while to get through. I was really kind of suffering through the first two books, Bonds and My Life. I was like, why is this a prize winner? Why are people hyping this book? There's a review on the back that says this book is a really fun as hell to read. And I was like, I don't believe that. But then once you actually get into the third book by Ida Partenza, and then the last book, Futures, it really just all really comes together, and it's such a satisfying read, and you get so many answers to the questions that are set up in the novel. And this book also explores themes of, again, marriage, the power of money. There's also the idea of gender, gender as a construct, how money is being used to control women's voices, their autonomy. And it really just goes back to the whole idea of, I remember that there's a saying that says something like the winners write history, right? And this book leans on that, where it's like, do are the things that we're wrestling with, the things that we believe, are they actually true, or are they just ideas that are pushed forward by those who have won, right? So this is a long book, a little bit of a dry book at the beginning, but it is so worth making it through and enjoying all the different writing styles and books that Diaz writes to come up with this grand reveal at the end. It's such a satisfying book to read, and I clearly see why this is a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. It absolutely deserves it. This is a must read for anyone who really, really enjoys history, who really enjoys literature. It's just so satisfying. This is actually a book that I would reread again once I've actually finished it. Like, rereading it, I think would help one enjoy the novel in a completely different way. So, highly recommend this book. I would say this book is 5 out of 5 stars for me. I'm not going to say anything else because I want you to enjoy all sections of the book, and especially the last section of the book that really ties everything together. But highly recommend that you pick up this book and read it. I would recommend picking up the paperback novel. One thing that I wish I had done was annotate the book as I went along, have post-it flags or highlighters, because there's a bunch of really good quotes in this book that talk about money and power, intelligence, marriage. And it's really a book that you want to go back and forth. And then once you get that big reveal, to really kind of understand what you've read before. So let me know if you read this book, what you thought about it, if you enjoyed it, if you hated it. And thank you very much.